Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV, and hello to our friends who are listening on Business Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and yes, I am wearing a hat. That's right. Our show today is fashion, travel, and fitness. And today we are going to be talking about something that I love, near and dear to my heart, all about footwear, about those fancy shoes. If you're out there watching and you have a shoe love, you've been obsessed with shoes, let us know, because we have the shoes for you. We've got a great guest who's joining us today, and we are going to take a quick break, and then we'll be ready to talk about all things related to shoes. So you out there who are watching live, please do put comments in and let us know what are your favorite types of shoes. And if you even have pictures that you want to share with us of your favorite types of shoes, we'd love to share that with everyone else. Let's take a look at Diann Floyd Boehm's, her works that she's done, that we have sponsorships here, Song of Peace, and her other wonderful books. And we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Kapayapaan, kapayapaan, kapayapaan.
Diann Floyd Boehm's A Song of Peace tells the story of a young lad named Tommy, whose fervent wish for peace on earth touches the hearts of his friends and family, spreads to his community, and eventually unites the whole world around making his dream of peace a reality for everyone. Sit down with the children in your life and share Tommy's amazing story of love and hope. Sing your own song of peace and invite the children to join you. Tommy's tale is more than just a story. It's a movement, and everyone's warmly welcome to take part.
Kapayapaan, 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 kapayapaan.
You'll find A Song of Peace, along with many other wonderful learning and enriching opportunities for children of all ages, at DiannFloydBoehm.com.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diann Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diann Floyd Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diann's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diann's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diann's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diann's delightful books and much more at DiannFloydBoehm.com. Visit DiannFloydBoehm.com. That's DiannFloydBoehm.com.
and helping you discover how to share your stories. So you can reach me at diannfloydboehm.com, and I do love fashion. My mom, grandma, and Aunt Pat inspired me, being the only girl among 5 boys, spoiled about looking at clothes all the time, mostly window shopping, but we did have fun, and my mother would always talk about how many weeks she'd have certain dress in layaway, etc. And so dresses, having the right shoes, a cute little purse to go with it, etc., was totally how I grew up. And so how could I not help but love fashion? And as a grown-up today, it is so much fun to meet different people who help bring and make fashion alive. And that's what we have today for us.
Thank you so much, Diann. We do have a couple of comments, and from our friend Adam. Hello, Adam. Adam is joining us from the UK, Adam Duval, and he writes that he loves this hat. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And hopefully the sound quality is good because I'm not wearing my headphones. So I apologize. That's because I have the hat on. I can't fit it all in here. So Diann, we are not going to be talking about hats today, but we are going to be talking about footwear. And you've brought a wonderful guest, and she's patiently waiting backstage. I'm going to spotlight you to share a little bit about our guest and how you two know each other.
Sure, I'll be happy to. Well, I am excited to introduce to you a fabulous couture designer of shoes and outfits as well, and brooches. She just recently told me she started making brooches, so she has a lot to share with us. How I came to know her was because I visit different schools as an author, and on the side, she is, I don't know, she'd say it on the side, but to me it's the sideline. She is this incredible librarian who puts in the passion of reading and adventure and love. And she just really sparks and brings so much to the school, and even helps design the fashions for their plays and so forth that they put on at their school. So Nosheen is phenomenal, and let's see her.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Diann. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be with you both.
Well, it's lovely to have you. Where are you joining us from?
So I'm here in the lovely Dubai, and it is nighttime for us. It's 9:20 p.m. in the evening. So yeah, we're in a different time zone. And like I say, I'm ahead of you guys. So you're in the past and I'm in the future.
What should we be looking forward to the rest of the day here?
You've already lived
a lot. Well, I've lived mine. So yeah, you've got a lot to look forward to. So today, thank you very much, first of all, for giving me this opportunity to talk to you all about my passion and my design work and the shoemaking that I do. And I'm going to share with you some of my work and my ideas and inspirations, and and what led me to shoemaking, and and
Fantastic.
Anything else you wish to find out about me.
Thank you so much. And we do have a comment, and I think this is from possibly a first-time viewer. So welcome. Do you know this person?
I absolutely do. Hi, Wally.
Hi, Wally.
So Wally is a design director at a shoe factory, the Italian shoe factory here based in Dubai. And he is a wonderful human being. And I'm so happy to see him. I'm really, really surprised that he's the first person to come to join us on the show. So thank you, Wally.
Thank you, Wally. Really appreciate it. So I would love, we have some photographs, by the way, that you had sent in. So I want to make sure we spotlight them as well. But I'm very interested and anxious to hear how you got started in this part of your journey.
Okay, so as with anything that you're passionate about, just like Diann said, she was since childhood into fashion and dressing up and clothes, and her mom sewed dresses and so on. So I was kind of the same. I had a deep passion in creative things since very early age. And when I was a child, when I was a young girl, I was always observing patterns and colors in nature. And while my other siblings and friends were out there, playing and watching TV and doing other things, I was actually rolling on the grass, looking at flowers and plants and trees and looking at organic patterns and shapes. And then as I grew older, I started to doodle, to draw. And my mom, she's also quite creative, so she taught me how to draw. And so once I started drawing, and I just wanted to just draw anything and everything that was in front of me. And yeah, so as I grew, I went through school. I was exposed to many different forms of art by a wonderful teacher. I don't know if she is around or not, but I went to school in London, and she was called Mrs. Crabtree, Sue Crabtree, and she's one of my biggest inspirations in life. So she taught me art, and from then on, I just went on to higher education. I trained as a fashion designer, and I learned all about clothes making, and I did menswear tailoring. So that is technically the most difficult thing in fashion. So I wanted to challenge myself and learn the most difficult thing, and the rest was just plain sailing. So if you know how to do a tailored jacket, for example, cutting and sewing and those type of skills are become a little bit easier for you. But I was interested in dresses, couture dresses, and female kind of women's wear fashion. So I trained as a fashion designer for women's wear. But later on, much later on in my life, I did many other things. I also did a second degree in biotechnology. So I specialized as a fungal geneticist because I was also interested in sciences when I was at school. But then my real passion was in the creative kind of industry, and this is where my soul lies, and this is where I knew I would always come back to. So I later on went into shoemaking and learned the art and craft of shoemaking. And there I was making shoes, and to this day. And recently I've been working on a shoe collection, which I have spent just over 2 years developing, and I'm hoping to launch that a little bit later this year. So this is my debut collection that is hopefully going to be coming out soon. And yeah, I love shoes. I love working with the materials that I use, the tools, everything.
Wow, I love it. I do have a couple questions, then Diann, go over to you. So can you explain to our audience, because I think this is really important, there is definitely an art to making shoes. Now, shoes can be mass produced on a factory line. They can be made by hand, and I guess they're somewhere in between. But can you share with our audience, what is the difference between a pair of shoes that is handmade in terms of how long it's going to last, in terms of maybe how it actually adheres to the foot, as something opposed to something that's mass produced?
Okay, so yes, you're absolutely right. Shoe is a very important accessory in anyone's wardrobe, and if you're a woman of style or a man of style, for that matter, it's very important to accessorize yourself really, really well. And shoes, for me, is probably the most important accessory that either makes or breaks your outfit. So yes, it's very important to have a good quality shoe that will complement your dress or your outfit, and therefore handmade shoes, nothing compares to handmade shoes. The skill, the passion, the energy, and the soul that goes into each shoe is completely different to the shoe that is being produced in a factory, in a mass-produced factory. So yes, so if I may show you, before we start shoemaking, or before you start making a shoe, the last is the one that comes first. So this is a last. it's basically the shape of the shoe, the final shoe that you're going to be making. And obviously at a design stage, you decide the shape of the last. So for example, the toe, the heel height, the spring, and all the different features, you know, the little details on the shoe that you would like to appear once the shoe is finished. And there are many different shapes that you can. So this is a classic wooden handmade last. And again, this is a dying art, which I think needs to be revived. This is a completely handmade, handcrafted shoe last that was made in England. But these days, you know, with technology, you have machines and other things that you can use to make, you know, plastic ones or using other materials. So this is a plastic one, which is a very hard, heavy plastic last. And this is quite industrial. So it can be used in a factory when you're producing many hundreds of pairs of shoes. So this will actually last because this is quite robust. Obviously the wooden last is wood is a natural material, so this will probably wear and tear, and you know, when you poke nails in it or bang hammers on it, this is likely to get more damaged than the plastic ones. So then once the last has been decided, then you have many other different components that go into a shoe. So for example, you have the insole board, which can be made of different materials, usually a very thick compressed card. And then there's a titanium shank that goes under it that actually holds the shoe, especially if it has a high heel. So it doesn't kind of collapse when the shoe is worn by the person. And, you know, this has to carry the person's weight. So this is the shoe insole, which goes on to the inner part of the shoe. Then you have different materials that you can use to cover the shoe. I feel like I'm giving you a shoemaking course. Tell me if you want me to stop.
I love it.
I love it.
So this is the insole board that I have covered in a piece of black leather. And this will then go and on the back of this last. This is the wrong one. This is the left and the right. So, but anyway, just to explain to you. And then you will attach the uppers. So the uppers can be made in many different materials. And I love using leathers. I love using different exotic skins. So for example, I love pythons, and I have used a couple of these skins in my shoes,
Wow.
but they are notorious. This is a natural python. Some of these have been colored and others are natural. So if I can show you one, and then I will show you a shoe that I've made in this skin as well. So this is like an orange color that has been dyed, if you can see.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like
Nice.
a really beautiful red wine color.
Wow.
And I will show you the shoe that I made out of that, combining it with some suede. Sorry, I'll just show you. Behind me is my cupboard of shoes and last. And
How exciting to be in your work.
I love this. Wow.
okay, so here's the snake skin that I used
Beautiful.
on this shoe, and this is the
Ooh,
suede. I love
stunning.
suede, by the way, and the contrast between the snake and the suede is just so luxurious. And you know, I covered the heel, but like I said, it's an absolute challenge to work with snake skin. It's very brittle. It's like paper, and it just breaks. So not an easy thing to work with.
So is that one of the reasons why snakeskin shoes are more expensive generally?
Yes, and because they are so, you saw how small it is to get a whole upper out of this tiny little kind of strip. It's almost like a strip if I show you. So I have quite a lot of skins here, but let me show you the one that is that will best explain. So for example, this is the whole snake. So that's the head, and that's kind of the whole snake, and they're all different shapes. They're very
Wow.
narrow, so you couldn't possibly cover the whole shoe from one piece. there has to be some sort of a joint in it. And it's very difficult because it's not pliable. Suede, leather, or anything that is a bit stretchy can be molded around, but these are notorious because they cannot be stretched, otherwise they just rip. It's like paper. The other material which I recently bought, and I'm trying to explore this, is stingray skin, and this is a beautiful material. It's a bit like leather, but here's a really beautiful turquoise one, and you can see the actual stingray spikes that they have on their skin, and these have been kind of shaved off and filed. But this again is a very difficult material to work with because it just breaks your machine needles when you sew on it. So
they're natural colors. Sorry.
No, these have been colored. These are not natural. So these are dyed. So obviously they have to be dyed because, you know, stingrays are like a dark, kind of like a gray color. And once it's processed and washed and treated with different things, it kind of doesn't have a very exciting color. So yeah, it's usually colored. I also use upholstery materials. So one day I was just obsessed with these cherubs that I saw in an upholstery material shop, and I'm gonna just show you. So this pair of shoes, to get these two mirror imaged cherubs, I had to buy like 1.5 meters of a very expensive sofa material just to get these two cherubs out. And then I made the shoe with it, which I have worn quite a lot.
Wow.
How can we get them?
You can email me. So these are made out of a sofa cloth.
I never thought about doing that. So the sofa cloth, it's sturdier, right? So it'll last longer?
Yes. So again, it's very thick, but I line it with different things. So underneath there is a fusing, there's an interlining that has to be ironed on. It's like a heat activated glue on the back of this very thick material that I use. So that goes on the back of it just so it doesn't split or the fabric doesn't fray, and then you put it on the shoe to make the upper. Here's another one. This is another tweed mule. So this is an Italian tweed, which is used for jackets or trousers or coats, and I just loved it, the colors and the pattern in it. And I just used the leather on the back of the heel and the tweed at the front.
It's gorgeous.
I did a similar one in a different color, which is like a brown and orange.
That's beautiful
and
too.
If you can see, sorry, it's a bit dark. I don't know if you can see.
Yes, stunning.
Yeah. So these are all the materials. And so the latest collection that I'm doing is actually quite exclusive because I have worked on many components that go on these shoes, and I've done some embroideries. I have made some metal components that didn't exist, so I had to design them and then send it off to a factory abroad to have it made. And then there are certain paintings that I did for this collection, and I can show you those ones.
This is exciting. We get to see part of your collection.
So this new collection was based on butterflies, and I'm fascinated by butterflies. I've always absolutely loved butterflies, and I'm so thankful to God for creating the beautiful butterflies, because there is just an endless you know, it's a source that just does not have a limit. And there are moths, there are butterflies and insects that are just incredible. So for this collection, what I did was I took the butterfly wing and I expanded it. I sort of zoomed into it and I painted this.
Wow.
And then this was digitally printed onto leather, and that was then used on the shoe for this new collection.
Wow.
Okay, so these are quite exclusive paintings, and for each shoe style, based on the color of the leathers and the materials that I was using, I picked a butterfly that will complement those colors without giving too much away. Yeah, and then here's another pink one, and you don't see the actual butterfly wing, but I've just made it quite abstract because, you know, it's like you have to create a little bit of mystery. You have to create a little bit of, you know, the shoes that I made for this collection are actually, I think, in my opinion, a work of art. They're not really shoes. It's just wearable art. And every piece, you know, carries my soul and my heart, because I've just put so much into it and I absolutely love it. I'll just show you some of the embroideries I did. So for one of them, I made an embroidery, which is like based on the yellow sulfur butterfly. And this actually went on the shoe like this. So this bit comes out.
Wow.
And
Stunning.
like that.
Beautiful.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And the shoe, the whole of the shoe is actually made out of like a turquoise, very light pastel turquoise color. So again, it's a nice color scheme. I'll just show you some other butterflies that I have made. Sorry, I'm in a tiny space, so everything is within reach.
That's okay.
But here's another butterfly, and this is used. I don't know if you can see, but this has been used. This has been embroidered using a very old technique called punch needle embroidery. And then what you do is you punch it from the underside, and then these little loops appear on the front side. And once you cut the loops, it creates like a carpet, like a rug pile. And that's quite incredible. I don't think
that
you
is
can
stunning.
see it.
How long did it take you to do just that?
Stunning. That is stunning.
I'm not sure. I don't really time myself because I kind of do it whenever I get a chance, because I work full time. So when I come home after I've done the dinner and everything, so then I just sit, and in the evening I just work on these a little bit at a time. Here's another one I'm working on. It is, I'll just show you. This one is still in frame. So this is a pink moth, which is, and I've made one. So I do these in pairs because this is the actual pink moth that exists in nature as it is. And the reason I'm doing them in pairs is because I want to make these as a feature for the new collection. So there's a component on the shoe that I'll be applying, and you can apply these brooches. So these are detachable brooches that the client can buy if they wish. And if they want to put it on a shoe, it can go here or at the back, or if they have a handbag, the matching handbag, it can go there, or they can put it on their scarf. So it's a multifunctional kind of brooch that can be used for many different things.
Wow, that's incredible.
Here's another one. That's the orange and the white butterfly that I did. And then I'm also fascinated by cubist art. So rather than doing the butterflies realistically, I thought, why not do it in a triangulated shape? So here's a blue butterfly that I triangulated, and then I hand embroidered it with a satin stitch. And again, this is a brooch, so this can be applied to many different things, even your hair.
I love the multifunctionality of it.
Yeah, this is what I do. Generally, I have a habit of having things that can be used in many different ways, and it just makes them that much more special. So these are multifunctional kind of features to the shoe that I'm trying to create. So the shoemaking itself, it's like you've seen, it's a complicated kind of process, and If it's a simple shoe, it'll take me like a couple of days. I use various hand tools, just little things like a tacking knife. This is called a pincer, an awl, a regular hammer. And then this special little knife is called a skiving knife. Now, this is a Japanese blade, which is very, very sharp, and it's got a little like an angle. So skiving is when you have to shave a skin so that you can stitch on it and it doesn't bulk up. So if I can show you a little demo. So there's a technique to it, and because this is a sharp knife, you have to use it very carefully. You kind of dig it into this is a piece of leather, this is a goat skin, and I'm just on the back of it going to skive off the edge where I'm going to put a seam on it on the machine. So I just put that in, and then I slowly slide it so that I can shave it off and take off the extra. See, this is the beautiful thing about using leather, because it is, you can do so much. You could never do this with a fabric. Like, for example, the sofa cloth, you could never do that because the sofa cloth will just become all unraveled. All the weave will just break and it will just fray. But you can actually do this with leather and skins. And it's just such a pleasure to do that. So now, this piece is thin enough for the machine to be stitched across here. So when you fold it in, it doesn't bulk up. And that creates a very nice, beautiful, neat finish on the shoe when it goes on the edge. Like a little strap, if you're creating a little strap or a little part of the counter on the back of the shoe, then that is a nice, and it's important for the comfort. So when you wear the shoe, you wouldn't have that bulky kind of seam digging into your skin. So that's skiving for you.
Fascinating.
Wow.
Wow.
We're getting the full deal here today, Diann. I love it.
Thank you, Nosheen. I had no idea. And it just, how exciting for students who can't figure out in school, like what they're meant to do. And, you could get so turned on just by learning about shoemaking, because you have mathematics in it. You have design. There's just so much to make, to captivate someone who was like, I don't think I want to be a doctor, but the art is shoemaking, like, hello.
Yeah, and this is because I work in a school. It's actually such a pleasure for me to work with young people and young children, because I think at this day and age, the way the world is moving forward, I think it's very important that children are trained to become multi-skilled. And, in the past, we used to have one profession that we used to think about, and that was it. That was kind of our career. But, it's like I'm a living example. I trained as a fashion designer. I've got a degree in science, and I worked in IT for a while, and now I'm making shoes. So, but it's all a culmination of all these different experiences and these educational kind of training programs that you go on, that you learn from so much. Mm-hmm. And through each of the training programs that I've been on, it doesn't matter about the subject. What I learned from those experiences was very, very useful in the jobs that I have done all my life. So, it has not only enhanced my technical skills, but also improved my personal development in terms of communication, in terms of dealing with people, and just work in a very professional way and thinking positively. I never kind of get stressed or worried about, oh, I will never have a job, or well, what is my career? Or people might think that, oh, she's a bit lost, she's done so many different things, but that's not the case. It's just I've been interested in so many things. And I think it's important when children are growing up that they have experience of many different things before they find their niche, and then they take that path and they specialize in it. So I always encourage, like today I was actually in a secondary in the secondary part of our school, helping with the art lessons. And it's just such a pleasure to inspire children. And when I spot somebody with a skill, whether it's reading or writing or drawing, I make sure that I encourage them and I highlight what they're good at so that they can take that further. So for example, today there was a boy and they were asked to work with watercolors and draw the Queen to celebrate the Jubilee of the Queen of England, to celebrate her 70 years in reign. And he said, "Oh, miss, I don't really like watercolors. I'm not good at, I'm not Picasso." And I said, "You don't have to be Picasso." I said, just just take a deep breath, just sit down and think about simple things that you can do rather than what you can't do. And then I just left him at that. And I went and I was watching the other students. So when I came back to his table, he was just like, shouting with glee. He was, "Miss, look what I've done. Look what." I said, "What have you done?" And he showed me this amazing thing that he used. He took a brush, he dipped it in different watercolors, and then he splattered it all across his paper to create a really beautiful background. And then on top of that, he was going to draw the Queen's portrait. And I said, "Look at you." I said, "Look, what did I tell you?" And he was like, "Yes, miss." And he was smiling and he was like so proud of himself. And it was such a joy to watch him do that and turn around 360 degrees. It's priceless. So yeah, I find working with children quite rewarding, and especially when they really think that they can't do something and then suddenly there's a little improvement in what they can do, and it kind of ignites their motivation, and it helps them to think positively and believe that they can actually do something that they're good at.
Wow,
so yeah,
what a
it was a very
great
proud
story.
moment today for me at school.
Congratulations. That's wonderful.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But thank you for sharing all that. And again, it's because you have this passion of creativity, and your shoe designs are phenomenal. I remember once you showed me one where you were actually hand stitching the design on a shoe too. Do you remember that? It was a while back, but she
was it
Dr. Jacalyn, she had a shoe that she was actually doing all the embroidery to. It was
amazing.
amazing.
We do have some photographs that maybe we can maybe this is what you're talking about.
Okay, maybe, yeah. Let's see.
Wow,
yeah, this is one of the ones that I made for a client of mine in London, and it actually had a whole outfit that went with it. And she was actually going to go to Florida on this course, and she wanted to go to different events, and she wanted me to make her a few outfits. And this was one of the shoes that I made for her. Exclusively, and I beaded. This is actually a suede, which is again notorious to sew. I mean, try pushing a needle through a suede. It's no easy task. So I was quite pleased with this. Yeah.
Wow, stunning. And
Incredible.
We've got more.
Oh yeah, this is the one I have here. Actually, I can show it to you in real as well.
That's phenomenal.
I love it.
Is so here it is. So this, I call this Louis XIV slipper because if I tell you a little bit about the history of heeled shoes, these shoes, the concept of heel actually dates back to the 7,000 to about 8,000 BC, and it was used for people somewhere in Persia who used to ride horses, and because they found it difficult to get on and off the horse, somebody at the time decided to put a little heel on the shoe so they could actually get hooked into the stirrup, so it helps them to get on and off the horse. So the heel was actually initially designed for men. And then
Wow.
much later, I think sometime in the 17th century or thereabouts, I don't know, my memory is pretty bad, but in the time of Louis XIV, as you know, was a very elaborate king, and he liked to dress up, and he wasn't very tall, so he asked his shoemaker to put a big heel, a block heel on his shoe, so it makes him look taller. So yeah, he used to wear a lot of, and at that time, the high heel shoe became a very fashionable accessory for men. And then much later down the line, obviously, then this was used as a shoe for women, and then the stiletto was born, and then the
Interesting.
rest is history.
Wow. Well, I'm obsessed with shoes. I just have to share that for many years I collected shoes. Like I actually have a I don't know what it's called. It's something you would use in a dining room for the dishes, and I have it for the shoes. And the shoes
Wow.
are like collector's items that I never would want anything to happen to them. But my question
Yeah.
is, as trends come and go, one thing that I noticed seems to have stayed around for a while is the fact that the shoes are more and more narrow. And I don't see them in yours, which I think is great. But the shoes, it's almost like shoving your foot into this tiny thing, and then your foot looks like that. Why did that happen to and who like I don't, because it's sort of,
Who is cruelty to women?
yes, thank you. Ding 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 ding.
Yeah, that unfortunately, I'm not quite sure the logic behind it, but yeah, it's high fashion, and for some people, it's important to look different, and therefore practicality doesn't really matter, even if it kind of later on damages you or your health. Fashion for some is more important. So yeah, some shoes are designed that are unwearable, but I make sure that when I make shoes that they are actually comfortable, even if it has a high heel. And if it has a really high heel, then I would always put a little platform underneath, so that the angle that it creates, it's not harmful for your back.
Wow, that's really
So
good
yeah,
to know.
So
and the really
important.
pointy, yeah, again, I like pointy shoes, and I've got some last, which I will show you, that are extremely pointy. Well, they're kind of pointy, but here's one that I'm kind of working on at the moment.
Very
And
pointy.
that is, as you can see, very long, and it's not quite pointy, but it
Yeah,
goes
square.
square and long, quite a long way away. But again, it's you have to design the last so that it is to a certain degree comfortable for the foot as well. Otherwise, you will not be able to enjoy wearing your shoes. So yeah, comfort is very, very important.
Definitely. We do have another picture here.
Yeah, so these are some of the tweed mules that I showed you, the Italian tweed. Yeah, so I always, when I have a collection, I try to keep a small heel height and a slightly higher, so that, if you want beautiful shoes, but you don't want to be uncomfortable, then you have that option of going for the lower heel. So 1.5 inch or, 2 inches even, that is a good comfortable heel height. But if you want to go higher, then 4.5 inch or 4 to 4.5 inch is a good heel height as well. But anything above 5, or when you're talking about a 6-inch heel, I'm not sure if that's good for your back. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, thank you.
I have a pair of shoes. I just want to show. I'm not going to show the designer, but I just want to show the heels. It's like 7
Wow.
inches
Do you
high.
have
Oh my
do you
gosh.
do you have a platform at the front? Let
Yeah,
me
there's
see.
there's a platform. Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
So therefore, that's what I was talking about. So if you add a bit of height to the front as well, you are still that much taller, but your foot is not actually at a very steep angle. Your foot is still at a good angle that is comfortable.
Yeah, I think
So
it's
yeah, that's
interesting that as time goes on, when I was younger, I would have no problem wearing 6 or 7-inch heeled shoes. And as you get older, you start to think, if I fall and break something, what's going to happen? So those shoes are what I call sitting shoes. So I
yeah.
basically carry them to where I'm going and I just sit in them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm guilty of that. I have so many shoes and I've had to give boxes of them away, which broke my heart. But
Do we
anyway, there
wear the
was no
same
space.
size? Hello. Do we wear the same size? I'll help you out there.
I gave a lot
Um,
of shoes away also
Yeah.
because it just I couldn't wear them anymore. But
Yeah.
I'm so fascinated to find out how can we actually get your shoes, or are these custom? So it's per client, per foot, so to speak.
It can be, yes. So I have certain designs that I do, like a fixed collection, and then the upper can be custom made to any material, any skin, any design, embroidery. If somebody has a dress and they would like a matching or a complementary shoe that complements the dress, then yes, I could customize that. But if somebody has a special foot size or a special foot shape that requires a completely new last, then of course, then we would have to take the foot measurement, make the actual last exclusive for that particular foot, or obviously it'll have to be a pair for both feet, and then that last will be then used to make the shoe with. So yeah, it's highly customizable. But yeah, there are some collections that have fixed shapes and sizes that can be customized in some way in terms of the uppers. The upper is the bit that goes on the shoe. Like, for example, this is called the upper of the shoe. So this can be customized in absolutely anything. Material. So
love
this is
How
a
can we
that.
order
corduroy.
your shoes? How can we order
So
your
yes,
shoes?
so I'm on Instagram. I have just revamped my kind of social media. So it's at Nobak_official. And I also have a website which I'm in the middle of revamping, and that's NosheenSaba.co.uk. And you can either email me on info@nosheensaba.co.uk, or you can DM me on the Instagram. So my label is called Nobak, which is Nobak. And that's actually my name, because my name is Nosheen Saba Khan. And interestingly enough, one of my nieces, my husband's niece, she told me, she said, Aunt, this is not very nice if you put your whole name in the shoe and people are going to be stepping in it. And I thought, I hadn't thought about that. So I said, what can I call it? I want, as a designer, I want to have my name in the shoe. And she said, well, I'm sure you'll come up with something. So I did a lot of brainstorming for many, many months. And then I took the first 2 letters of my first name, the last 2 letters of my second name, and the first letter of my surname. So that became Nobak.
I love it.
Which is,
I love
that.
it.
So-
Very
so-
clever.
And is it NOSHEEN
No. It's not. The website is NosheenSaba.co.uk.
Can you spell
It's
that
my-
for our friends on the radio?
Okay, so it's NosheenSaba.co.uk. So that's NosheenSaba.co.uk. And the Instagram, which is the newer kind of social media platform, it's Nobak. So that's NOBAK_official, because that's the official kind of platform for all the latest collections.
Fantastic.
So
Thank you
Well,
so much.
congratulations. Nosheen, I
Wow.
can't thank you enough for coming on the show. Dr. Jacalyn, I hope she'll come back.
Definitely. There's so much more to learn. I'm just so proud of you and happy for you. Your
thank
designs
you.
are true art.
Thank you so much.
Nosheen, I had no idea of all the different layers that go into shoes. So, you really enlightened us, and your shoes are I already knew they were phenomenal, but they just getting better and better over time. And wow. So is it polite to ask, is there like a price range, or each one is so exclusive that it just really depends on the material?
Yeah, it's very difficult for me to put a price on one because, like I said, each one is so exclusive, and all the materials and the components, it's all very,
Because
very
it's a
kind of different. So
couture.
yeah, it's a couture. Yes,
So,
it's a very high end.
yeah,
So it's bespoke, pretty much bespoke. And there are some collections that I bring out that will be for a certain price based on the costing and so on. But
right.
pretty much the bespoke stuff is customized, and
right.
it's all individual.
Well, we'll be sure to email you.
Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure and such an honor to have been on your show, which is wonderful, and really nice to have seen you and met you. And thank you so much for the opportunity for me to talk about my passion.
Well, thank you for sharing your passion with us, and thank you for giving us the backstory of how everything gets made and how the impetus behind the patterns, the styles, the materials. I love that. Just even looking at the snake skin and understanding what that's like to work with, and how needles can get broken based on the different textures, and using furniture material. It's just upholstery. It's incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, it's fun. It's phenomenal what you can do in shoemaking. So yeah, it's a wonderful world.
We'll come back and share more.
Definitely. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you again for being with us.
Thank you so much. Have a
Bye-bye.
good afternoon, because it's bye-bye.
Good evening to you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
I just love that, Diann. I'm such a huge fan of shoes, especially couture, and to see the level of detail and work that goes into that, it's like a labor of love.
But it's exactly what she said, and what a passion. I really had no idea about all the different layering and the terminology and the tools she shared. So I hope she comes back and not only shares when she releases her new collection, how fun it would be to have her on the show for her big opening, right?
Absolutely.
And that would be awesome. But also to share with us, all of us, to learn more about shoemaking, so we can not go, oh my God, how come they want that much for a pair of shoes, right?
Definitely. And there are certain pairs of shoes I won't even wear outside. I know it sounds ridiculous, but especially with what she shared with us today, it is art.
It is.
It's more than just putting something on your foot. It is a piece of art that she designed. She spent hours picking the right material with the right heel height, and it's something that you don't want anything to happen to it.
Right. So it needs to be on your shelf in your dining room with your collection. I love that.
I do too. I treat shoes like, maybe I'm a little crazy, but they're all taken care of just so well. Like I don't want anything to happen. And the reason being, because I do give them away, and I want them to keep bringing joy to other people. And I hope that those people who have my shoes are taking good care of them. I know who you are. No, I'm kidding.
I'm sure there are. Well, you and I could talk about this all day, because I even do the same thing with dishes. So I think there's fashion in dishes as well, which we should do the art of fashion and dishes. But I know you have another show coming up, so
yes,
I guess we have to bring this to an end.
Yeah, we do. Thank you for keeping me on time, Diann.
You're
I'm
welcome.
going to spotlight you again, and let people know where they can get your books and what's your latest project, if you'd like to share.
Sure. So you can find my books on Amazon.com, at your local bookstores. And there's actually a fabulous place to purchase books that really supports authors, which is B for Bookstore, B and then the number 4, R Bookstore, that supports authors as well. And And then if you can't remember all that, then just go to my website, diannboehm.com, and you can find out everything and where to buy my books there. And yes, I have 2 new books that I'm working on. They're with the artists right now. And that's about all I can tell you, because we'll do a book reveal, hopefully coming up I guess the springtime. And then I'm working and researching on the follow-up to Rise, A Girl's Struggle for More. So I'm really excited about that one. And that's for young adults.
You go, Diann. Never a dull minute with you. That is for sure. And folks, when I finally do take a vacation, Diann's going to be running this platform for me. So
Oh, we'll say some prayers. You'll be taking, you'll go on vacation, you'll have the rosary with you the whole time. Even if you've never said it before, you'll be learning it.
No, you catch on.
But
so
what an
quickly,
honor
Diann.
to say that. Thank you.
Well, it's been a pleasure. 3 shows in a row with you. I'm really just so grateful for you and your time and your expertise and sharing your heart and bringing your friends to the platform. I just love it. So thank you again.
You're welcome. And I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, Diann.
Bye. Take care.
You too. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. I do have just some quick announcements. We have 2 new shows starting this week. The first one is it's the Film and Music Show from Hollywood to Pinewood to Nashville to Broadway to West End. We are going to be featuring wonderful performers, people from the performing arts. So if you'd like to join us, please go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com. Book your session. Our other new show this week is Adversity to Awesome. If you have a story of overcoming tremendous adversity to being the awesome person you are today, we'd love to have you on the show. This is actually the cover and title of my new book that is coming out, and it will be coming out April the 4th. I've had the pleasure and privilege of interviewing people who have been through some tremendous adversity, and they're doing wonderful things in the world, and their stories are contained in this book. Also, we have our Listening Mentor show, which is 3 days a week. If you'd like to be a regular guest on the Listening Mentor, it's so easy. All you have to do is take the Power of Listening courses. We actually have these courses available today. If you take the Power of Listening foundational courses over on the left, parts 1 and 2, and then you pass the quiz with 100% score, you can become certified. You'll be featured on my website, drjacalyn.com, as an elevated listener, and also on our team on USA Global TV. Last announcement before we wrap up is we have a brand new course, hot off the press. It's called The Power of Listening, and this is the transition. We did have a part 4. This is not the same thing. This is the transition, facing the shadows of ourself, and this is being offered in March. Myself and Madeline Chan, the award-winning international singer, songwriter, producer, and author, is going to be facilitating this with me. This is all about the migration between a 3D world to a 5D world, leaving the ego of the mind behind and focusing on a life that is led by your heart. But what do you do in between 3 and 5 when you're in the middle, when you're not really aware of what it is you need to do to face the shadows of yourself to make the transition into a heart-centric life? This course will teach you all about that. So I hope that you'll join us. Thank you again. I think we still have 5 shows left for today. And then, of course, we will be back tomorrow and Friday with more shows. We've got 21 shows this week. All right. Thank you again for being here. We really appreciate it. We'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.